So giving her the tools to deal with these emotions, I need to have those tools myself as well, number one. Number two, I think this is where my, cutting, fast forwarding to the future happens, is that I know I can't be a perfect parent. And from what I understand is I can just be good enough. But I have to be able to be so present and one with her feeling what she's feeling, asserting certain values and behaviors, but also just letting her be, So there's so many of these permutation combinations that I'm just like constantly toying with. So that's one other worry about like just future and life. And then of course there's this physical thing. And then is she eating well and is she sleeping well? And what's going to happen tomorrow and what's going to happen day after? And I'm also a working mom. Again, I have to acknowledge my privilege. I do have a great support system around her, but the worry is not going to leave, like, oh, if I'm away, is somebody going to say something? Is she going to pick up on something that I would not want her to pick up on? All those things. But, you just take each day as it comes and just move forward. So I guess the reason I'm speaking about it is because it's a very real feeling, and it's not something that I've just got figured out since day one. I'm constantly sort of wrapping my head around it on a daily basis. But apart from that, it's joyous.
No, I appreciate you being so honest about it, because I think the worry point, and especially what you raised, this idea that as humans, we judge ourselves so much, but there's probably no role that we judge ourselves in as much as being a parent, because you can almost really see how this innocent, beautiful being is taking on so much of your energy, your words, your behavior, the environment. And I think that almost makes us so mindful and thoughtful, because with our partners, with our parents, we can kind of be a bit lax, and
of course,
sometimes we can say things we don't mean or whatever. But when you're with a child, it's almost like you realize how precious they are and how those exchanges are. And it's so interesting what you're saying, this idea of self-judgment. And it's fascinating because I've met people who've said, my parents were always around and gosh, it was really, really hard. And then I meet other people who say, my parents were never around and it was really, really hard. And then you hear, my parents forced me to study this and I don't like them for it. And then someone says, my parents forced me to study this and I love them for it.